The Nile turned to blood, a miracle, a mystery, or a message? What if I told you the world's longest river once ran red? Not just red like clay water after a storm. No, red like blood. Thick, stinking, deadly. Fishes belly up, people gagging, crocodiles gasping. Was it symbolic? Was it natural? Was it supernatural? Or was it something more? And here's the deeper question. Why blood? Out of all the signs God could have sent Egypt, why poison their most sacred river? Let's find out together. Exodus 7, 20-21. Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded. He raised his staff in the presence of Pharaoh and his officials and struck the water of the Nile, and all the water was changed into blood. The fish in the Nile died, and the river smelled so bad the Egyptians could not drink its water. Blood was everywhere in Egypt. Blood, everywhere. Not just in the river, even in the bowls, the pots, the jars. This wasn't a river problem. It was a national crisis. Now, let's pause, because God isn't random. This wasn't a party trick. It was a direct strike at Egypt's pride. See, to the Egyptians the Nile was sacred. It was their lifeline. Their god Hapi was believed to bless the land through its floods. They prayed to it. They worshipped it. They depended on it. So when God turned their god into rotting blood, he wasn't just flexing. He was making a statement. You trust the Nile? I created it. You worship the water? Watch me drain its power. Sometimes, the first step to freedom is shaking the foundations of our faith. So now I ask you, what's your Nile? What's that thing you trust more than God? Is it your job? Your image? Your bank account? Your plans? What if God turned your Nile into blood? Not to destroy you, but to deliver you. Could you still trust him? Would you? Now, let's be fair. Not everyone believes this story was literal. Some scientists say it was just a red algae bloom. Others say it was sediment from Ethiopian floods. Some even claim the Nile turned red from silt and bacteria triggered by volcanic eruptions. And maybe you're like, well, my neighbor Joe says it's all metaphorical. You know Joe. He always has a documentary to back him up. And sure, let's allow space for theories. But here's the thing. Metaphor or miracle, the message remains. When your God fails you, you turn to the one who never will. Let's go further. The Nile turning to blood wasn't just the first plague. It set the tone. It was a spiritual showdown between Pharaoh and God. On a king who thought he was divine, facing the one who actually is. This is important. The plagues weren't random punishments. Each one hit an Egyptian deity. Frogs, they worshipped a frog goddess. Darkness, they worshipped the Nile. Their entire economy revolved around it. God was dismantling a false system, one god at a time. Sometimes God disrupts before act high.
But wait, this isn't just about destruction. It's about transformation. Because blood is not just a symbol of death. It's also a symbol of life. And years later, in another part of scripture, blood would flow again. Not in a river, but on a cross. And this time, not to condemn, but to redeem. From Nile to Calvary, God's story flows in blood, yes, but with purpose. Imagine being an Egyptian child. You go to wash your hands in the river. You dip your fingers in. And instead of clear, cool water, red, thick, warm, metallic, you scream. Your mother gasps. Your father tries to scoop water from the well, but it's red too. People run, priests panic, fish die, and up on the banks stands Moses, calm, silent, staff in hand. And Pharaoh, he hardens his heart, even as blood flows all around him. What would you have done? So, is the story of the Nile turning to blood, myth, miracle, metaphor? Maybe all three, but one thing is certain. It was a message. Don't place your faith in rivers, rulers, or rituals. Place it in the God who can turn blood into victory. So, I ask you again, what is your Nile? And if it turned to blood tomorrow, would it drive you away from God? Or straight into his arms? If this stirred something in you, comment your thoughts. What do you believe really happened that day on the Nile? Tag someone who's wrestling with a personal river. Subscribe for more mysteries and scripture stories. The world skips, but the Bible doesn't, because this was just the beginning. Next time, we ask, why did God harden Pharaoh's heart? Now that's a mystery. Until then, remember, God doesn't just part seas, he parts hearts too. And sometimes, he starts with blood.